Hi, I'm Kate Riley.
And I'm Dieter Benz.
Next, the Historical Society's Maloney General Store lease.
Kevin starts by stating, what we're asking here is, then after mumbling, he states, there was supposed to be a speaker, Warren Carlson, here tonight.
Table the King County Sheriff contract discussion.
So now I'll move on to the proposal for the Maloney Store Historical Society. What we're asking here, and this all ties in with the resolution. We were supposed to get the speaker on this, but I guess he didn't show up. I was waiting for, I thought Warren was going to be here to explain this in more detail, but he's not.
Kevin tries to present the Historical Society's position despite Carlson's unplanned absence, stating the town needs to provide $15,000 in matching funds for the forculture.org grant.
For Culture has been given a grant application by the Historical Society for the museum in the Maloney store. Okay, they are asking the Historical Society is asking the town for matching grant money so they can get that. Okay, what we're asking right now is that the town approves this grant for $15,000 in matching funds for Culture for the Historical Society.
Kevin further states that if approved, the funds will come from the Skykomish Compound's prepaid rent fund, meaning, once again, mitigation capital.
And if we approve this, the balance will be coming from the Skykomish Compound prepaid rent fund, which is one of our discretionary funds.
With the grant application deadline only 2 days away, Gene nevertheless states that more details should be provided before just spending $15,000, and that council should hold off until they get the details.
Yeah, it seems to me more detail should take place rather than just coming out and allocating $15,000 without having any details. So I would say hold off till you get details.
Gene then questions why the Maloney General Store, which has always been a prime retail space, should now cost the town $15,000, and states that consideration should be given to restoring the building to retail in order to bring in revenues from rental income and taxes and to provide jobs, as opposed to taking a prime piece of real estate and not only donating it to the Historical Society, but costing the town $15,000 just to start.
The Maloney store has always been a retail space. And here we are in a small town and we got prime retail space. You know, that's going to cost the town $15,000 to turn it into, you know, a museum. And it seems to me that consideration should be given to restoring it to retail space where the town would get lease, rental, taxes, jobs. They're taking the prime piece of retail real estate and not only donating it, but costing town $15,000 should be discussed.
What does the Historical Society's latest profit and loss statement look like?
They've been around for decades under the Carlsons' tutelage and should have a big bank account built up.
Don't they have the $15,000 in matching funds?
Is this just one more money-losing version of the vision?
Kevin agrees that more discussion is warranted.
Then a quick,
agreement
granted $15,000.
That's why I was hoping that Warren would think.
If he agrees, how did this nonsense ever get to this point in the first place?
Why did Kevin even start the discussion?
Why wasn't this discussion tabled like the King County Sheriff's contract?
Where was Warren Carlson?
Didn't Saul Weisberg just state at last month's meeting how important community involvement and support was?
Has it already evaporated just 30 days later?
Can't boondoggle proponents show up to pitch their schemes?
Maybe the Carlsons' car broke down between Olympia and Sky and their cell phone also didn't work.
Council candidate Rick Adelot now states that when he gets something with a 2-day deadline, he feels like he's being bamboozled.
Whenever somebody presents me with a proposal with a 2-day time limit, I think I'm being bamboozled.
I agree.
And
that's what
I would encourage you to consider, you know, letting the Historical Society use this space, but let's not underwrite them for the tune of $15,000.
Charlie Brown, longtime resident, former mayor, council member, and school district 404 director, now questions why the town is involved in the Maloney General Store lease anyway, stating building owner BNSF is in a much better position to lease it or do whatever they want, and why doesn't the town just stay out of it?
Charlie.
I have just a real simple question.
Yeah.
Why would the city want to enter into some kind of an agreement where we're going to market a piece of property for a commercial entity? Why wouldn't you, if that's where this property is going to end up going, why not let the owners do that and stay completely out of it? The railroad they can market that building just as easy as anyone. Sure. Much easier than the city.
I now question the town's advertising and marketing efforts.
I think Mr. Benz was next.
Can you tell us what the results were of the marketing and advertising that you did to try and find a retail lessor for that? Did they just not show up, or nobody responded? How did that work?
Kevin answers by stating the town didn't have a lease with BNSF until recently and wasn't in a position to lease it.
We have not done any search.
We haven't had a lease agreement yet.
I pressed for the real answer to my question. Well, no, what I'm saying is, if you're getting ready to turn it over to For Culture and the Historic Society, was that because you were not able to lease it? In other words, what were the results of your marketing program?
Henry responds that no marketing has been done and that we haven't had any applicants.
We haven't done any marketing.
Because we haven't had
And we haven't had any
building.
And we haven't had any other applicants or people come up with an intended use for the building.
Henry says the town wasn't in a position to do anything since we didn't have control of the building until recently.
Gene Egan comments to Dieter, I don't think you can market it until you have the right to market
Carl,
it.
I don't think you can market it until you have the right to market it.
Well, if that's the case, Gene, how did the whole For Culture Historical Society grant and lease arrangement get done?
It's time to cut the BS, end the lies, and get down to business.
Henry then admits, yes, we didn't do any marketing, but by the same token, nobody was looking for space, retail or otherwise. And then he goes on to dance around a similar situation at the town shop.
Well, right now, a similar case that we had with the old shop building, which there basically wasn't any use. There was nobody. Yes, we didn't do an active marketing.
The proposed Historical Society lease has a 10-year term with a 30-day cancellation clause.
I now state that a 10-year lease with a 30-day cancellation clause is really just a month-to-month rental.
Peter.
Well, I'm just saying, it seems like we're going about this backwards. You don't have a 10-year lease if you have a 30-day cancellation clause. I can't imagine anybody from the private sector taking what you're calling a lease, which is really a 30-day occupancy.
Right, yes, it is.
Henry clarifies that it's a 10-year lease but cancelable as a requirement of the grant fund.
So in other words, the 10-year term, but it is cancelable.
Cancelable at any time.
And it's the requirement of the grant fund.
I question whether the town is going about leasing the property incorrectly. Well, wouldn't it make more sense now that once you're in a position to actually make a decision like this, wouldn't it make more sense to market the properties that the town has, get the best and highest bids from the largest and most stable, perhaps, customers? Aren't we kind of going about this ass backwards, as I said?
Henry shakes his head, stating he doesn't think so.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? All right, thank you.
I remind everyone once again about the economic development element of the comprehensive plan to bring business back into the historic commercial district. Well, and there's also the economic development element in the comprehensive plan, which is talking about bringing business back into the historic commercial district. So, I mean, there's a lot of opinions here, I think, that are supporting that.
Henry finalizes the discussion by stating that it doesn't sound like they have the support of the people to approve spending the $15,000 for the Historical Society's forculture.org grant.
So I guess what we're hearing is, especially on the lease, doesn't sound like we have support for people committing the town's funds to.
So I guess we're going to have to ask them if they can get an extension on this.
Kevin asks for a motion. Henry states, if we're not going to pass it, a motion isn't needed, and the item is then tabled.
Okay, I'm asking for a vote. Anybody want
If there's no other
You need a
discussion.
motion.
yeah, I'm asking for a motion.
Well, I thought we made a motion, maybe we didn't, did we not make a motion already? Well, we don't need to make a motion then, if we're not gonna pass it, nobody needs to
Right,
make a
so
motion.
we'll just table this.
Thank you for taking your valuable time.
I'm Kate Riley.
And I'm Dieter Benz.